Welcome to Ainslie Park for tonight's UEFA Women's Under-19 Euro Championship League B clash between Scotland and Kazakhstan. I'm your commentator for this evening. My name is Amy Canavan and I am delighted to be joined by Chris Marshall. Chris, thank you so much for coming. What are you looking forward to tonight? What can we expect?
Yeah, thanks very much for having me along. And I think we should expect an exciting side. We have a lot of talent in SWPL playing very regularly at the moment, and this is a good opportunity to build momentum going into another two games against Estonia and Kosovo later in the group.
Absolutely, obviously those two faced off earlier, and we'll touch on that result a little bit later on. But before we get into the lineups again, let's just talk us through, last month there was a friendly between Wales. I know you're a close follower, as I say, an avid Scottish women's football follower, die-hard fan. So what did you take from the Wales game? It was a pretty expected lineup, I would say. There's been a few changes to tonight, but what impressed you against the Welsh?
I think it was really interesting to see a couple of players in positions that you don't usually see them playing at club side. So Bailey Hutchison was playing a lot deeper for Pauline Hamill's side against Wales, and she obviously led to that first goal with this fantastic assist for London Pollard, who will probably imagine lead the line again in tonight's game. And also the goal that Bailey scored herself. She's scored 18 goals this season in all competitions for Aberdeen. She's a former SWPL 2 Player of the Year. She's very, very well touted, and very excited to see her in a Scotland national jersey tonight.
Fantastic. So let us run through those lineups for you and then we can delve into them a little bit deeper. So starting for Scotland tonight in goals is number 12 Alicia Yates, number 3 Niamh Murphy, 4 Jess Broderick, 9 Layla Lister, 10 Bailey Hutchison, 11 London Pollard, 13 Kenzie Weir, 15 is Rebecca McAllister, 16 is Addie Handley, and 18 is Amy Anderson, and 19 is Maria McInerney. And the visitors this evening of Kazakhstan: number 1 Anastasia Kokolov, number 4 Annalie Lagia, number 5 Melania Norbalova, number 8 Yulia Butt, number 10 Asil Zumagela, number 15 Polina Osipova, number 17 Margarita Taldikina, number 19 Tasminia Zagatova, number 20 Nursula Balzan, and number 21 Sarbanese Tulkansi. Chris, let's look back at the Scottish lineup. We obviously just touched upon there London Pollard, Bailey Hutchison, goal scorers last time out as well. What other surprises are you seeing in this lineup tonight? 3 changes from the Wales game. McAllister, Handley and McInerney are in for Jordan, Browning and Cowan. Any shocks there?
I'm surprised to see Rebecca McAllister in. She's obviously gone on loan to Hearts for the second half of this season. Maybe hasn't had a ton of game time yet, but I'm really excited to see Maria McInerney. She scored a couple of goals for Hearts in the Scottish Cups at the weekend to kind of put them through to the semi-final, and she'll be very identifiable by all those long socks. So I'm excited to see her in a Scotland jersey.
Fantastic, and here is the national anthems.
And now, Flag of Scotland. championship match in the qualifying round. Scotland versus Kazakhstan. Let's take a check on the teams ahead of kick-off once again this evening. First of all, for Kazakhstan, number 1 Anastasia Kovlova.
Aberdeen's Jess Broderick there captaining Scotland under-19s for the 5th consecutive game.
Number 8, Yulia Butts. Number 10, Asel Shungali. Number 15, Karina Osipova. Number 17, Margarita Taldekina. Number 19, Yasmina Sagatova. Number 20,
And she rejoins her teammates in a pre-match photo.
Sabrina Tusenko. Lining up for Scotland.
And again, Chris, this is just a good time to ask you. Obviously, we've touched upon already Maria McInerney, some goals this season. Are you a little bit surprised? It looks like she could be playing in a slightly deeper role this evening.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. She's been lined up as kind of right back on the team sheet, but I'd imagine she'll probably be playing a little bit further up the park. I'm also interested to see some of the players that are based down south. Neve Murphy's played a lot of youth football, and she'll probably slot in at full back, but we'll see how it kind of lines up. And Layla Lister, who has had a couple of first team minutes for Reading this season as well. It'll be interesting to see how she merges with London Pollard this season. They have a pretty good relationship from the friendly against Wales a couple of months ago.
Absolutely. London Pollard, of course, of Motherwell, powerful striker, likes to use her strength and her pace really well, and that was evident in the first goal against Wales last time out.
Yeah, absolutely. She's a great outlet for Scotland to have, and Bailey Hutchinson, we've obviously talked about playing that a little bit deeper. It means that Bailey isn't the player on the end of these, but I think there's definitely a forming of a bond, and I think especially with some of the options we've got at the bench, obviously Ely Adams is a former Scottish Youth Player of the Year as well, so it'll be very interesting to see how we can go forward in terms of setting up the team first of all in that first instance, and then we'll take it from there. But I think we have options. I think we've got exciting options up front, and this potentially is a very exciting team, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they kind of go in this new phase of qualifying.
Absolutely. Pauline Hamill touched upon that earlier on in the pre-match, just as Leila Lister is about to get us underway here. But she said the overriding goal is to qualify, but it has to be right now. Unfortunately, Scotland do find themselves in League B. It has to be about getting that promotion back up to League A at the first time of asking.
Yeah, absolutely. So for anybody who doesn't know, it's not a case of winning this group and we're into the qualifying stages. We win this group and we go up to League A, and we played Austria, Netherlands and Ukraine in the last phase, and we only got a point. So this is a big challenge in terms of where we need to go to get to these next Euros, but this is a fantastic opportunity to build momentum, and momentum so key.
Leila Lister gets us underway here at Ainslie Park. A little bit blowy, a little bit, well, it's not the nicest of weather actually, let's just put it that way, Chris.
It's a little bit, drizzle was probably a gentler term for putting sideways rain. Yeah, it's not the best.
Certainly calmed down a fair bit.
So I'm interested to see where Addie Hanley actually fits into this. She can play at centre back, she can also play as a central defensive mid, and she can also play at full back. So it looks like at the moment she's slotting at full back with Maria McInerney ahead of her, but we'll see how that transpires over the game.
Absolutely, just hugging that right touchline there. Just Kazakhstan having some time on the ball. London Pollard picks that one up. Leila Lister turned fantastically well. Incoming is Maria McInerney. She gets her cross. Comfortable save there, but early passages of play, getting the creative players of Scotland on the ball, it's what Pauline Hamill want to be seeing, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think Maria will be a little bit disappointed with that ball. With her set piece delivery and crossing, she's one of her strengths. She scored a couple of goals from those wide areas before, and she'll be disappointed with that 3-0 ball in, but it's good to see. And Leila Lister, I thought what she did particularly well against Wales was hold the play up to allow London Pollard and runners to come round about her as well, so it was promising to see that in the early stages for sure.
Alicia Yates, obviously, off Spartans. This is our home ground. How crucial can that be, Chris? You know, it's a funny surface at Ainslie Park. We've all been there. It's not the greatest of surfaces. It's obviously not grass, which a lot of these players are used to. But for her, she's more than comfortable in this goal. Spent many a time, and she's on a real run of form at Spartans right now. Yeah,
we were having a wee chat just beforehand about the fact that Rachel Harrison is probably a player that's maybe been unlucky that she's never quite picked up a Scotland cap, and she's been a stalwart at Spartans for a long time, but Alicia has been given a run of games and she's been performed very well, and keeping Rachel Johnson out as well, who's obviously been part of the Scotland squad and the senior side over the Pinatar Cup. So it's interesting to see how Alicia settles in, but definitely having familiarity will help them, and it will help a lot of the players that have played here before in SWPL games as well.
Absolutely. London Pollard trying her luck there. Addie Handley driving down to the byline. Again, just no takers. Little bit of miscommunication between the Hearts players there. And Chris, again, we kind of spoke about it pre-match, but there's a real strong Hearts contingent right now across all the lower age groups in the national setup. But it's a great thing to see. There's 6 players involved in this squad in the under-19s level, and it's testament to what Eva Ollard's really trying to do at Hearts, isn't it? That yes, they are a young side, but they're coming through the ranks together and they're getting a lot of game time.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it's something you could say similar for Aberdeen as well. There's 3 Aberdeen players in this squad tonight for Pauline Hamill, and I think these squads are kind of learning and growing together. It sounds a bit of a cliche, but I think you can definitely benefit from having people round about you, and both those sides have experienced heads that they can lean on. I'm sure Pauline will have spoke to them as well about how best to manage the expectations of the players and the ability they have. But yeah, it's exciting to see these players come through. Obviously, a couple of the Hearts players are on loan from Celtic and have had, I think, maybe different impacts on the squad so far. But yeah, the fact that we have players getting regular game time throughout a season at the top level in the Scottish game it can only benefit them in the long run.
Niamh Murphy getting forward. Interesting to see Amy Anderson out there on the same flank as Niamh Murphy. Again, not the kind of setup that perhaps UEFA predicted, but we know they can sometimes be just the slightly little bit off. Amy Anderson, a player you've been impressed by, Chris?
Yeah, I think she's had a good impact for Hearts. There's been a number of players that kind of come in over the course of the season. The name was one of the kind of earlier ones. She was at Forfar Farmington before, obviously, with the situation that happened there with them, and she's definitely one of the players that Eva Ollard looks to kind of make a difference for them. But I think, as you say, that I think somebody at UEFA likes to have a wee game with commentators and just put something together to see if we're paying attention. But it's good to see that in the early stages that we are dominating possession, and it looks like we'll be hopefully on the front foot for the majority. Yep,
the cue cards are moving around positional places. We'll get there eventually. Jess Broderick, though, already she's just such a regular feature really in that Aberdeen backline, which has been a really impressive Aberdeen backline this season. But the experience playing alongside Kelly Forrest week in, week out, Lauren Campbell, that can only do her confidence the world of good. I will come back. No, we'll just answer that question now, Chris. It's fantastic she's getting that experience with the experienced heads, just as Layla Lister can't find her striking partner, London Pollard. So yes, go ahead, answer it.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to speak to Jess not that long ago about playing alongside Kelly and Lauren Campbell as well, who's at Aberdeen. 2 of the stalwarts have kind of been there all the way down and all the way back up again. And I think what was really impressive about speaking to Jess and speaking to a lot of these players is that they have a maturity that I'm not even sure I have as an adult now, to be perfectly honest with you. But I think they are very excited about the prospect of obviously playing national side, and Jess is one of a number of these players that have come through the 15s, 16s and 17s, and she's certainly settled into the Aberdeen squad as one of their key players.
Becca McAllister there, just not happy about something, speaking to the referee. McAllister, as we have touched upon, Chris, a little bit surprising that she has made the starting lineup perhaps today on loan from Celtic, as you say, towards the beginning of the year. She made that move in search of game time. She can perhaps feel a little bit hard done by in the fact that she did have that brutal injury at the start of the season, spent a lot of time out on the sidelines. Yeah,
absolutely, and I think the move to Hearts will obviously get her that game time in terms of getting back into the side. But yeah, I mean, I suppose the way to look at it as well for Pauline is that by starting Rebecca, she has options she can bring on, so the likes of Eva Thompson we've talked about already, Tegan Browning is a slightly different player in terms of playing a little bit further back, and then there's options in the wings with Bailey Collins and Tegan Bowie that could potentially come on and change the game.
Lister gets that crucial touch. Waiting there was Maria McInerney. But Kazakhstan clear again, and this pressure is just coming relentlessly from Scotland right now, 6 minutes in.
I'd like to see maybe just something on target, something to kind of test the goalkeeper at the moment. We've got lots of the ball, but we haven't tested the keeper just yet.
Niamh Murphy sweeps that one up. Opts to use Addie Handley. Good tussle there. Maria McInerney pulled. Bit of a Kazakhstan throw.
It's nice to see the team in the new kit as well. I'm a big fan of it. I know a couple of people said Sweden-esque, but I think it's nice to have a wee mix up from blue and white and stick the yellow in there for sure.
Lovely kit indeed, very retro-esque, isn't it?
Central badges, cannot go wrong with a central badge, not at all.
Pressing there from Niamh Murphy. Yeah, throw for Kazakhstan. Good to see fans in the stand at Ainslie Park, Chris. Obviously, free entry tonight. Not the nicest of nights, but not a bad little stand at Ainslie Park. It's good to see a few bodies in there.
I'm glad there's a nice little stand at Ainslie Park, because there's a bit of a habit of women's football venues feeling like they're in the centre of the Arctic sometimes, but yeah, the stand's there. And obviously the game on Friday against Estonia is also going to be Ainslie Park for you to get in as well, and as will the final game against Kosovo at the Falkirk Stadium the following Monday. So yeah, absolutely get along and support women's football and the kind of future stars or the young team, as we like to keep it on brand.
Addie Handley, 17-year-old, 16 on the back of the shirt, finds London Pollard just offside. She really doesn't need to be offside, London Pollard, does she, Chris? She's got that burst of pace. Commentated on her a few weeks ago at Motherwell, and she's more than comfortable, you know, just hanging on that line off the shoulder. Yeah, sometimes she can get a little bit eager when it comes to turning it, but something I have noticed with the development of London Pollard from kind of when she burst on the scene at Forfar Farmington, she scored a wonderful goal against Celtic when they picked up a point, and she's had a loan spell at Partick Thistle at the start of the season. I think her time spent with Brian Graham at Partick Thistle really helped. Obviously a very similar type of striker in terms of how they play, and she's kind of gone and developed further at Motherwell, and I think, as you say, is maybe just a little bit more patience on her runs, and I think she has got that explosive finish, and maybe at the moment it's just part of her development is that it's okay to take a moment to think about how you're going to make that run and also how you're going to finish a shot as well. Kirstine Kell out on that far right for Kazakhstan. Seen a lot of the ball early on. I feel Niamh Murphy could be in for quite the tussle.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where they kind of, not necessarily target, but where they kind of view their strengths in attack will be, because as we can see already, we are pushing quite high. Addie Hanley's been playing almost as high up the pitch as Maria McInerney, and on the other side, Niamh Murphy is a strong runner with the ball. It'll be interesting to see in terms of whether Kazakhstan try and gamble at some point, or if this is going to be their tactic of kind of sitting back and allowing Polina Osvova to kind of run the defence as much as possible.
It's interesting, obviously we were having a little look beforehand. Kazakhstan, haven't scored in their last 6 outings, so you can see that's why Pauline Hamels set the side up this way, on the high press, on the attack. You know, sometimes it's filtering even in these early stages into a front three. Your fullback's pushing very high, so she obviously senses goals and is expecting goals. Yeah, and
I think any fan watching this should expect goals. That we are in a group that we don't really want to be in. We have aspirations of being in League A and then getting to final tournaments, but to do that you have to win these games. I think for me at the moment it feels like a lot is coming down both wings. I'd like to see a little bit go through the middle, as we talked about. It does look like Bailey Hutchison has dropped back a little bit into central midfield. She's just dropping deep now to potentially get the ball, and potentially losing Leah Lister as that focal point to bring in the runner round about her.
We are asking a little bit of Broderick there. Fails to pick out McInerney. First real shot on target really for Kazakhstan. They're very comfortable for Alicia Yates.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where it'll count as a stat, but I don't think you'd bring it up in the highlights. Hopefully not in the highlights later on, because we've scored lots of goals, but yeah, absolutely.
Like your optimism there, Chris. Noted.
Gotta believe.
Broderick manages to pick out Addie Handley that time, tries to leave it on for McInerney, and a real tussle there. Picked up by McAllister. Lister can't get the beating, and Kazakhstan come away with it. And a real tussle there in the early stages with Yulia Butt. Amy Anderson just got the ball stuck on her feet. McAllister. McInerney. Tees one up. Pollard. Great first touch. And still on the rebound. She just can't get away. That's becoming a real habit at London Pollard's game, isn't it? You know, she's got a good first touch on her, but she's not always the most clinical in front of goal, Chris.
I would have liked to have seen her maybe try and go with that with her head. I know it would have been a bit, maybe being a bit spectacular, but you know me, I like a bit of spectacular, and it feels like that maybe would have been something that would have generated a shot and goal, as opposed to maybe taking it down and allowing the Kazakh defence to kind of swarm around their feet.
First real time though that Maria McInerney's managed to get a decent cross ball in, as I was saying, up in a real tussle with Kazakhstan, the butt of Kazakhstan. Already going to be quite the battle down on this right hand side. Alicia Yates. Kenzie Weir plies her trade down at Everton, following the footsteps of her dad, Chris.
Yeah, David Weir's her father. She made her Everton debut at the end of January in the FA Cup against Huddersfield. And yeah, I mean, it's one of those names I think everybody kind of talks about. You see a surname from the past and you go, I wonder if that's a relative, and in Kenzie's case it is. But I'm sure that she will certainly look to forge her own path, and the fact that she has had the FA Cup minutes already is a positive sign for her development at a team that have got big aspirations in the WSL.
Very much so, as you say. That debut at the end of January, made her Under-19s debut against the Netherlands. Started against Wales as well with Broderick, as comes Handley. Not quite out yet for a corner. Scotland do win the throw. Be led to believe. Decent pick out there from Rebecca McAllister. She's seen a lot.
It's nice to see him stepping back a little bit and kind of try to pick up that ball deep.
Be a free kick for Scotland. Decent position, Chris.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see who lines this up. But as I said, Marie McInerney scored a couple of free kicks this season, but Bailey Hutchinson's obviously got a goal scoring record as well. And the likes of Layla Lister will certainly have a fancy for it too. But well, I back Maria, but I'll probably be proven wrong in about 2 seconds' time.
That is McInerney over this one.
I'm surprised it's only 3 in the wall from Koklova. It's not particularly. It's actually surprising to see the kind of wall where it is as well.
Pollard's in the box, as is Lister. McInerney feeds in Bailey Hutchison. Drilled ball right across the face of goal, and Jess Broderick in a fantastic position. Almost had an open goal there. Just couldn't get the correct connection on it. Really well worked there though from Scotland, Chris. Obviously straight from the training ground. Bailey Hutchison, first real time she's managed to get into any kind of creative area, and it just maybe rather unexpectedly falls to Jess Broderick's feet. Yeah,
I mean, it's certainly a training ground move, and Kazakhstan just didn't react to it. Bailey Hutchison in acre space, and that was a brilliant ball along the 6-yard line. As you say, Koklova kind of fumbles it a little bit, and maybe Jess Broderick isn't quite expecting it to come to her, but kind of that kind of range, you would hope that any kind of contact would put it in. But it's promising to see that we're now starting to pick them apart a little bit in terms of how we're breaking down their banks.
Handley. McInerney gets the turn there. Time to get her delivery in. Again Pollard, Lister. Again just can't quite get it on target, and Pollard can't feed it back through into the path of McInerney. Getting into good positions. Oh, sorry, Chris.
No, you're absolutely right. They are getting into good positions now. We seem to having a lot of joy down this right-hand side at the moment. And again, it's another great ball from Maria McInerney. Just the first touch, just going by, and then Leah Lister not being able to capitalise. But it's good to see that this pressure, it definitely feels like it's building at the moment.
McAllister. Murphy tries again. Bailey Hutchison. Apologies for the loss of picture there. 18 minutes gone at Ainslie Park and it is still Scotland 0, Kazakhstan 0. Pauline Hamill's got to be happy with the way things are going in these early stages, Chris, but perhaps a little bit of angst that Scotland just aren't putting away those chances. You know, we've seen both strikers fail to really capitalise on glorious opportunities. Amy Anderson, Bailey Hutchison, Maria McInerney getting into good positions as well. Perhaps a little bit of worry creeping in that none have found the back of the net.
I think at the moment it's okay. I think Pauline will probably look at it and go that the plan is working in terms of coming down the flank with McInerney and Handley, particularly on this right hand side, and we've also generated a couple of opportunities as well. I think as always with these kind of games, getting that first goal is such an important part of the game, and if you can get it early enough, it really sets the tempo for the rest of the match.
Niamh Murphy to take the throw. Broderick finds Handley. Again, just trying to find McInerney. But out comes Koklova.
Yeah, it was interesting there. You just heard Handley say a shout on it. I think maybe we're going for that last ball a little bit quick. As I said at the start of the game, one of the things that really impressed me about Leila Lister in the game against Wales is the way that she almost threaded the play together at the top end of the park. It'd be good to see her get on the ball a little bit more.
Hutchison. Roderick back to Yates. Back to Broderick. Handley. Can hear that call again, this time from Lister. Gets her delivery in for Pollard. Again, just positional perhaps there, Chris, not anticipating it right. Body shape wasn't in the best kind of receiving position for that.
I think she's obviously anticipated the cross coming short, which is great to see, but it is, again, it's just taking that first touchdown. I think if that first touch sticks, she has herself an opportunity, but again, she's reading the play well, and a couple of seasons ago, London wouldn't have done that. It would have been something that she would have missed, so it's great to see her getting in these positions, and hopefully that touch will come and we'll get a goal from it.
Skewed by kick there from Koklova. Allows Scotland to press high up the pitch into the Kazakhstan half, where lots of the game has obviously been played up until this point. McAllister. Handley again. Just cannons off Pollard that time.
I think the rain will have actually helped at Ainslie Park. It can get quite sticky, especially in the summertime, and obviously we're ending, and hopefully it will be slightly better weather-wise. I know it's not quite been like that today, but I think the rain will help in terms of like slicking up the pitch a little bit, and if you can start zipping those balls out to the wide side. I'd like to maybe see it mixed up. It feels like it's now almost kind of one trick at the moment in terms of going down that right. Let's try and kind of vary the point of attack and see if that changes the momentum a little bit.
Koklova with the by kick. Dealt with by McAllister again. Bailey Hutchison getting some time on the ball. Not seen an awful lot of it this far.
She's maybe playing just a little bit too deep just now. I've noticed that a couple of times she's on the wrong side of the centre circle, and playing her deep has definitely helps with some of her ball ability, but you want to see her kind of pushing into that final third more often than not.
I think we kind of expected Rebecca McAllister perhaps to be sitting back that little bit deeper. She's getting into those forward areas. It's great reading, of course, from Bailey Hutchison then to offer that support back, but it's not where you want to see her. You know, she's got 18 goals in all competitions for Aberdeen this season. Absolutely phenomenal return. You want to see her in the box and hanging around those kind of areas. Yeah,
and maybe it's just a case of they kind of do a bit of yin and yang, where they kind of draw back and pull forward at alternate points, but I don't think there's still anything to be concerned by just now. We're kind of starting to get some sniffs around about the goal, and it is just one opportunity, and then that totally changes the shape of the game.
On the ball there in the opposite box.
It's interesting to see Kazakhstan started to push up a little bit higher now. Popova not on her own, I should say, in terms of what she needs to do.
Absolutely, Scotland's back line of Weir and Broderick really doing well to play out from the back. I was going to say, but Bailey Hutchison has just been dispossessed. But Niamh Murphy sees that one out well. First real hiccup in Scotland's play there, Chris, not keeping that composure, you know, on top of the ball, being very thorough so far, but a little bit of a mistake there from Hutchison that was pounced upon, as you say, as Kazakhstan are pressing up the pitch and opening up a little bit.
Yeah, they certainly are. I think they'll feel they've weathered that storm, but we'll see what Maria does here.
McEnany and London Pollard. Lister. Chris, that simply has to be a goal, doesn't it? London Pollard has all the time in the world there. Layla Lister doesn't manage to follow it up either, but London Pollard's not going to get many better opportunities than that.
Yeah, I mean, I have said that maybe we need to vary it up, but it does seem to be the trick that's working the most. Maria McEnany with a great ball across the end, but London Pollard's made the run, and she's just. I had my head in my hand there for a wee second. I thought that was in, and then Layla Lister just kind of prodding it into the goalkeeper's chest. But again, it's coming. It is coming. Believe.
I think it's disbelief there.
But yeah, it's very interesting to see Kazakhstan have now pushed a couple of extra bodies up, particularly Yulia Vut, who's kind of seems to be more press, and that four in the midfield, or maybe the other side of the halfway line earlier in the game, they now seem to be pushed up a bit further.
Broderick manages to pick out Maria McEnany on the drive. She goes herself. Fantastic last ditch challenge by Sagatova. Just as Kazakhstan are pressing, they're allowing that space for Maria McEnany to run into there. Obviously a little break in play right now as Koklova is down injured, but Chris, a fantastic pick out there and a real good take from Maria McEnany.
Yeah, it really was, and a fantastic tackle by Sagatova there. You could see that Maria was lining up to take the hit, and she's almost kind of came out of nowhere to take that, and Maria's frustrated that she didn't get that shot away now in retrospect, but I don't think she could have maybe hit it a little bit earlier, but you can't, I mean, that's a goal-saving tackle, I think, there from Sagatova.
Koklova back up on her feet. Urging our players to go long. Emma Anderson was up there, and Lister takes a heavy touch. Will not manage to keep that one in.
Just a couple of touches running away from the team at the moment, and it's maybe it's just kind of shaking it off. Obviously, this is the first competitive game since the last set of qualifiers, and while that game in Wales is a friendly, it's always a little bit different when you're playing in competitive action.
You can see that high press against Wales, hence why you can see Koklova pleading for our players to go forward and really get herself up the pitch, because Scotland, they love the high press, a very energetic side, and that's where the second goal actually came from, a Welsh attack, and it was just the presence really of the Scottish side, the energy to get themselves up. So you can see why Koklova's wanting her side to get up the park.
No, absolutely, and I think actually when that second goal came against Wales, it was after a kind of 3-4 minute spell where it was the ball kind of bouncing back to the keeper at every opportunity. And I think the thing to bear in mind, when we've mentioned obviously London's had a couple of opportunities, but actually the opportunity she took against Wales is very similar to the position she's getting in now. So I think if we keep doing that and continue with that high press, there's certainly opportunities here, and we've shown that there's chances to get in behind them as well.
Hutchison concedes another free kick to Kazakhstan. Taldikina will take this for the visitors. Just getting told to put that back in our own half. Norbayeva now over it. The Alicia Yates every day of the week, that one.
Yeah, but you heard the shout of watch the bounce, and I think it's always something you do have to watch with the synthetic surfaces that sometimes you can't get in a regular one. But she was well behind it, and there was never really any danger of it going anywhere else other than in her hands.
Can hear the cries of the forward players to get the ball up. Jess Broderick instead just opting to utilise our centre defensive partner in Weir. And it's back to the captain. McEnany out for a Kazakhstan throw.
It's interesting just in that little phase of play there, you saw Bailey Hutchison and Rebecca McAllister in the centre of the park, and they had 3 Kazakh players round about them. Obviously the benefit of playing the way we are at the moment and getting those players out wide, it means we are getting joys down the flanks, but it has meant that in the middle we've maybe not had enough time and foot on the ball to kind of maybe do some passing.
McEnany, just getting ushered off the park. Perhaps a little injury there. Adi Handley sends that one out for another Kazakhstan throw. McEnany back on the park, a little bit of strapping around her right knee there.
It's definitely been a little bit of a lull for Scotland just now with Kazakhstan pushing that a little bit higher. It's maybe presented a slightly different problem to what we had at the start of the game.
Polina Osipova just getting a little bit of space in the top end of the park. You can see her there putting pressure on Kenzie Weir.
Loved how Kenzie Weir galloped up those yards though. It was gazelle-like, I think, is an inappropriate animal to use in that situation.
Gazelle-like. Murphy. Half an hour gone in Edinburgh. Remains Scotland 0, Kazakhstan 0. Best chances of the game so far falling to Scotland as Adi Handley powers forward again, gets her cross in, little bit of a deflection. Murphy. Won't be a foul there on Amy Anderson, just a little bit late.
I thought that was a corner, to be perfectly honest with you, when the swing and a miss. Luckily Amy Anderson's come out with that okay. But yeah, again, maybe we saw Bailey Hutchison on the edge of the area there in that attack, and Rebecca McAllister coming in behind her, and it just maybe fell into the gap, unfortunately, on that occasion.
Not seen an awful lot of the ball thus far, Amy Anderson, as we're saying, a lot of the play coming through Handley and McEnany down on this right hand side. You wanted to see Amy Anderson on the ball a little bit more, Chris.
Yeah, I just think it looks like maybe we're trying it a little bit now. I think maybe a variation from one flank to the other is maybe it could be that they've identified a weak spot on that left hand side of the Kazakh defence, and this is why we've gone down this right right hand side so much at the moment. But again, we can see we're bringing the ball out here, but there is lots of space here, and I think I said at the start of the game, Maria McEnany's in a really good run of form just now, so getting the ball to her is certainly not a bad thing in my opinion at the moment.
Just as Adi Handley there was asking for a foul, that link up with Maria McEnany. It is at the feet of Weir. Lister dropping a little bit deeper. Skewed clearance only as far as Bailey Hutchison. And Amy Anderson will make sure that that is a Scottish throw.
You can kind of see what Bailey Hutchison's trying to do though when she's kind of surrounded by players in the middle. She is looking for that out ball out to the wings or down the centre, and that's where they found so much joy against Wales in the friendly back in February.
Lister doing well there to dispossess Kazakhstan. Just overcooked for Addie Handley. Don't see that an awful lot from Jess Broderick.
No, she's probably out of the defenders, she's the one that's been bringing the ball forward and doing that out ball to Addie Handley, but that one just slipping by there.
Another Kazakhstan throw here on the near side. Right in front of their away dugout, sorry. Referee unimpressed with the keepy-uppies there. Not too bad showing, I think.
I mean, it's early in the game. I think you've got to have a bit of fun when you're playing football. If you're not having fun, then why are we all here? Let's be honest. Amy Anderson just
a little bit late there from Anderson.
A wee bit late, yeah.
Perhaps gone unseen by the referee. Lister was on the chase there. Here is Bailey Hutchison. Again, Kazakhstan get it away. Just that little bit late from Amy Anderson. Alicia Yates just making sure her opposition is okay.
To be fair, I think Amy kind of stands her ground. She goes for the ball and stops. It's one of those ones you see quite a lot where two players come together and it's a momentum of one's gone into somebody's maybe not had the same momentum in the other direction, but looks like the player's going to be okay. Miran Chikut.
Murphy just weighing up her options. Weir. Handley to McInerney again. Back across to Weir. Anderson. Turns, was trying to feed in Layla Lista there. Handley will pick this one up. Options in front of her, dispossessed. Jess Broderick clears up well. Back to Alicia Yates, not been troubled too often in these opening 35 minutes. Tend to go until half time. Remains Scotland 0, Kazakhstan 0. McInerney, fantastic first touch. Took that in really well, Maria McInerney.
Yeah, she did indeed. It feels like there's been a wee half step up in tempo from Scotland. You saw Addie Handley switching the play to the other side earlier on there.
London Pollard. Back across by McInerney. McAllister. And Handley ensures that goes out for a Scottish throw. McAllister. Murphy. So central there, Murphy.
Yeah, she was drifting in quite a bit, I noticed, in the Wales game as well, kind of making it almost like a three at the back.
Weir stepping forward. Gazelle-like from Murphy, one would say.
I mean, we could go through a full safari's worth of animals, I'm sure, by the end of this today, but yeah, I mean, it's good to see Eve Murphy bring the ball forward, and I said maybe a little bit more coming down that side as well, but it's needing something in and around the goal at the moment. The Kazakhs are doing a really good job of just crowding out the midfield area, and it's forcing Scotland kind of sideways and back a little bit just now, but there's players there that can do that, and seeing Bailey Hutchison kind of starting to creep forward a little bit forward as well, it can only be a good thing.
Hutchison did win that one there. Pollard, great work. It is Lister, and there's the opening goal for Scotland. Can't say it hasn't been coming. Fantastic build-up play. Layla Lister, fantastic little chip into the corner, and Pauline Hamill will be delighted. Fantastic time to score, not long before half-time. Chris, talk us through that.
No, I mean that's exactly what we talked about, the high pressure and getting the ball, a wee lovely ball over the top by London Pollard, and Maria McInerney, who has a little bit of instinct to just hit that first time, and it's shinned in by Layla Lister, but it's gone into the corner, and do you know what, making that run and the ball from Maria McInerney I think really makes that goal, and it's great to get that goal in short, and hopefully that settles everybody down a little bit. It'll be interesting to see if Kazakhstan alter their gameplay now. They've pushed up and now been caught out a little bit by it, but yeah, great to get that goal, and hopefully the girls can move on from here.
First under-19s goal for Layla Lister. As Chris said earlier, some minutes under her belt at Reading in the Women's Super League down south. One of only 3 players in the starting 11 not to ply her trade in Scotland, alongside Kenzie Weir, Niamh Murphy and Layla Lister obviously down at Reading. Amy Anderson picks this one up. It's fantastic to see the contribution from London Pollard as well in the build-up there, Chris. She's not had the greatest of starts to the game, few frustrating touches, ball not sticking, but she plays a vital part getting the ball down and then into the path of Maria McInerney.
I think that's the thing that's impressed me most about watching London over the last 18 months, is that beforehand she would let her head go down and maybe go, not hiding, but maybe not be as vocal in terms of getting the ball, but she now goes after it time and time again, and I think, as you say, the fact that she managed to bring that down and release Maria for that lovely ball for Layla Lister is a great thing to see.
Maria McInerney's obviously done that with that bandage around her knee as well. A little close up there, quite a sore one. She's down on the deck again. Niamh Murphy occupying that central space. Picked out Lister there. Uses her strength well. Does get her delivery in. London Pollard's waiting. So was Maria McInerney at the back post. Manages to keep it in. Handley gets her ball across. Good pressing there from McAllister.
It seems like Kazakhstan have dropped even further back now, actually, which is surprising because obviously they overscored, and I think that's what's allowed Niamh Murphy to kind of come into this almost like attacking midfield role. Obviously it's important we don't lose the ball in these instances, but they have dropped right back, and it's surprising considering how much success they started to have with that bit higher press.
Shows the confidence Scotland have in their centre back pairing off Jess Broderick and Kenzie Weir. As we say, Jess Broderick being a real mainstay in the Aberdeen defence this season, and Kenzie Weir getting some vital minutes down at Everton. Pollard again using her strength well there. She's offering something different, Chris.
Yeah, she has. She stands out in the football pitch because she offers that.
Decent pop there from distance from Addie Handley, but as you were saying, Pollard.
Yeah, and she offers that little bit of contrast to what the other players that we've got on that top end of the park. But this from Addie Handley, I'd maybe like to see maybe a little bit more of this. We've tried obviously down the lines a few times, and we've had success with that now. But I don't think there's any harm in having a pop from a little bit further out at the moment.
Weir. Hutchison. Defence splitting pass here into Amy Anderson. Will it trickle over the line? Fantastic last ditch defending by Kazakhstan. Maria McInerney parried. Amy Anderson just can't get any kind of connection to that.
That was a great bit of harrying back from Taldinka to get the ball off the line. You would like to have seen, I think the Scotland players kind of stopped expecting it to go in. You'd like to maybe see them following it through, but that was a great opportunity there to make it 2.
Carbon copy of the goals against Wales, it must be said, that those defence splitting passes as the strike just tried to trickle over, as you say, just wanting a little bit more power behind that.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose she's done the hard bit and got by the keeper, and then, as I say, maybe we could have followed it a little bit quicker, but you know, as I say, it feels like we're getting the chances, and it almost feels like that goal is dampened the Kazakhs a little bit in terms of how they've gone about the game after looking like they were going to start to maybe cause a couple of problems.
3 minutes till half time. Ball is evaded, all managed to find London Pollard. Bailey Hutchison will be offside. A little bit of confusion right through the middle of the park there.
Yeah,
Wasn't sure if Pollard was offside.
For a second there, it looked like everybody had just stopped. And there you go, there's that, again, a beautiful through ball from Bailey Hutchison for Amy Anderson. And yeah, as you see, it's trickling. It's a great skate, because any time you see a player putting themselves into the goal net, you know that they've had to put themselves into it. And then Marie McInerney getting a shot back in and across, and they eventually scramble it clear, but we're creating chances, and I think it's always heartening if we create chances. That's almost more important than if we're not at the moment. Yeah,
fantastic last ditch defending, as you say, from Taldakina. Broderick.
Addie Hanley's been doing a power up and down this right hand side in the first half.
She says herself, she's athletic, she's quick, she's powerful. Spoken recently about the professionalism of the Hearts training for not being a professional club, of course. Joining from Hibs, Addie Handley joined from Hibs in September.
Well, yeah, and for obviously the Hearts players in the squad, the news that Hearts are going to go semi-pro for next season as well gives them an opportunity to build on that. But I know it's something that a number of the players have talked about underneath the lid, is that they've felt the step up, and I think you're starting to see the benefit of that. If last season Hearts were cut adrift a little bit at the bottom of the table, and they've picked up some good results this season.
Young squad, hence so many in this under-19s side. Short throw from Kazakhstan, allows Amy Anderson.
Flow with that.
Unorthodox.
Yeah,
unorthodox.
Unorthodox, we'll go with unorthodox. Don't think any animals throw things unorthodox.
Broderick. London Pollard showing short there. Handley stepping in, using Pollard again. There's the strength of London Pollard. Gets her cross. Waiting at the back post, Amy Anderson. Perhaps surprised that it managed to get right the way through to her. But a fantastic turn in step from Handley. And again, London Pollard just using that strength that we were alluding to earlier, Chris. She's got that in her locker.
She does that half step quite a lot, where she looks like she's going to stop and then she just goes again. She did that there for that cross. I think the touch from Kirklova makes it a little bit more difficult for Amy Anderson, and then looks like she maybe winded herself a little bit when that ball got to her chest.
Alicia Yates. Broderick. McInerney shows short. Trying to feed in Pollard. You can see what she's trying. Handley. A free kick to Scotland. Becca McAllister stretches it out to Niamh Murphy. Again trying to find Maria McInerney. And that's half time here at Ainslie Park. 1-0 to Scotland in the 37th minute. Layla Lister got her first under-19s goal. Pauline Hamill's side do go in 1 goal to the good at the break. Chris, what do you reckon Pauline Hamill's half-time talk will be? A lot of the same, really, just perhaps a little bit more clinical in front of goal.
Yeah, I think she's going to be happy with some of the areas of the team, particularly that right hand side, because a lot of problems. I think she'll be maybe looking for a little bit more variety in the attack, but there's been chances, and I think you're right in saying that maybe it's a bit more clinical. We maybe have 2, 3, 4 potentially at this moment in time, but we're 1-0 up, and in these kind of games, winning is the most important thing, because you don't know what you're going to get from Estonia. We don't really know what we're going to get from Kosovo yet, and I think getting the 3 points and just making sure we're starting on the right foot is the important thing, hopefully in the second half of that momentum continues, and as we've touched on already, there's plenty of options in the bench if she wants to kind of freshen things up as the game goes on.
Well, it's a big week for the Scottish women's national team, with Pedro Martinez Losa's side's next World Cup qualifying match this coming Tuesday, the 12th of April at Hampden, the home of Scottish football. Kick-off is at 7:35 and tickets are on sale at tickets.scottishfa.co.uk.
There are 1 million Scots who identify as having some form of disability. 100,000 of those are children. That's a hugely significant element of Scottish society. That's why we were absolutely delighted to establish the world's first para-football association and ensure that opportunities are available for all.
Whether people are deaf or blind or have cerebral palsy or an amputation, there are so many people that want to take part in football but previously possibly had issues with access or facilities being available. What Scottish para-football is about is creating football for all, creating access for everybody, giving everybody the opportunity to take part in football on a level playing field.
We have an understanding of the game, but what we don't have is an in-depth understanding of the challenges that the various disabilities have and how we can enable those people to get access to the game. And that's about then working with people who do have those expertise and making sure that they can play a part, working with us, to shape and adapt the game.
Thank you very much.
If you can see it, then you can be it. And our role is really about enabling that to happen.
The social imagination with autism can be quite impaired, so what we do is we use animals to talk to them about positions, and then that allows them to really think about and process that information in a completely different way.
People who have maybe never played football before in the past or been involved with a sport are suddenly becoming physically active. Not only is that improving their physical health, but it's improving their mental health as well.
Very simply, we want to make sure that everybody that wants to play football or watch football or write about football or referee in football can do so. You know, you don't do it for awards, but when something like this comes along and you're recognised by UEFA as you know, best in class across Europe, then it's a terrific achievement for the association and everyone who's played their part in that.
UEFA Grassroots Football Award for Best Disability Initiative has just been won by Scottish Para Football. The programme has increased access, improved facilities and helped more disabled people enjoy the game and stay active. Fantastic initiative, Chris, and it's so great to see the Scottish Para Football awarded like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been fortunate enough to work with some of the teams involved in that, both the power chair and the cerebral palsy national team, and it's fantastic that we've been able to bring these teams into the Scottish national team fold and seeing what they do. And I particularly thought I know we were joking about animals earlier on, but obviously the work that they're doing with kids with autism and making football more relatable to everybody is a fantastic thing.
Fantastic accolade from UEFA Grassroots Football for the Scottish para football side. Let's get back to tonight's action, Chris. There's been many a moment of magic really from Scotland, and it has only been the one ended up in the back of the net, but it's been a pretty promising first half.
Yeah, we've certainly obviously seen some success down the right hand side through Addie Hanley and Maria McInerney, and we've had those kind of chances that have started to come. It started a little bit earlier, and we've seen that as the game has kind of progressed, that we're starting to see those clips. So I mean, first of all, this cross ball from Maria McInerney is a wonderful one. London Pod not quite getting the touch on it, and then the kind of scramble clear from Cocklover in defence. But I think that was an early indicator of what Maria could bring to the attack in terms of what we're doing. And then from there, we've obviously gone in and kind of repeated that on a couple of further occasions.
Cocklover has been busy, as we say. And again, Maria McInerney just playing such a crucial part in this, so clever, picking out Bailey Hutchison straight from the training ground. But again, the presence of Cocklover perhaps putting off the Scottish players at the back post waiting.
Yeah, potentially so, and I mean, it's Bailey to find herself in that much space. I'm sure the Kazakh coach will be very disappointed with that, but Cocklover coming over and getting in front of eye lines will make things a little bit difficult for Jess in terms of putting that ball in. But again, here Maria's a lot of space that they are getting, and she's putting those good balls in. This is probably the best chance that we had before we scored where London's maybe just, I don't know, maybe caught in two minds about whether what foot she was going to take it with and how she was going to put it away. But again, Maria getting feed in that right hand side, and then obviously putting the ball into that danger, and particularly behind the defence that are coming back.
Not a lot for Layla Lister to do, just trying to get any kind of connection, but fantastic again from Anastasia Cocklover. And here is Maria McInerney. Fantastic little chip into the path of Layla Lister, and it's a fantastic skill from Layla Lister, the Reading striker. Not the easiest of finishes, but she puts it away delightfully.
Yeah, no, and you know, I think when we were first looking at it, I thought maybe she'd chinned it, but actually she deserves a lot of credit, because it would have been a lot easier to let that ball bounce and get Cocklover on top of her, but by taking a chance and letting it roll down her shin to kind of almost like loop into the goal, it's made a difference.
Addie Handley, she's been so everywhere actually.
Yeah.
I was going to say she's been so prominent in the Kazakhstan half, but she's been equally impressive at the back. She's covered almost every blade of grass down that right hand side, and that was just her having a little pop from distance, something you, Chris, wanted a little bit more. And this pass here from Bailey Hutchison, seen it so many times at Aberdeen, seen it against Wales, and just feeding in Amy Anderson, who just doesn't have enough behind it. Perhaps we were saying that she maybe should have had more power behind it, but I think actually you've just got to give credit to Kazakhstan, and it's a fantastic clearance.
Yeah, it's a superb clearance. I think for me you would maybe look at Layla Lister and London Pollard. Maybe they kind of took their foot off the gas once the ball was past the keeper. You can kind of see them jogging it in, and I think the main thing there was the defender Tadinka kind of showed the desire still to get the ball off the line, and then so Maria's had a pop straight afterwards, and it's been stopped by Cocklover, and then again but one of those scrambles clear.
Like we say, a very enthralling encounter at Ainslie Park thus far. Just the one goal in it, but a lot of positives for Pauline Hamill. She's looking at, if she is looking at the bench as well, a lot of goal scoring options. You're looking at Ailey Adams, obviously of Hibernian, but she has options. We mentioned Eva Thompson earlier, but even at the back, we're seeing the Scottish backline really push forward. So even though it may be a defensive change, it can have that kind of attacking effect.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We saw Niamh Murphy obviously getting into the final third quite a lot towards the back end of that second half, and Ailey Adams obviously scored 8 goals in all competitions this season. Eva Thompson has been definitely going through a learning phase this season and playing in SWPL1, but she's managed to get her name on the score sheet a couple of times, and she in particular has kind of been on the end of those kind of similar balls from Bailey Hutchison at club level. It'll be interesting to see whether that's something we see replicated in the second half.
Just as we're talking about, you know, if a defender or a defended-minded player kind of came on, but in an attacking sense, you would automatically assume that to be Tegan Bowie, and that's a player that I want to highlight, Chris, because I've seen a lot of her, but do you feel she has to feel a little bit unfortunate that she's maybe not seen some more action under Fran Alonso at Celtic? You know, anytime she's came on, I felt she was very impressive against Glasgow City when she was forced on in that crazy kind of goalkeeping chaos fiasco when Kelly Clark had to go into goal, but she came on and she put in a fantastic performance against Glasgow City.
Yeah, I mean, you see what Addie Hanley's doing down one side, and Tegan's got that ability to play either side. She came on in a Scottish Cup quarter-final against Rangers earlier in the season, and she really changed the game for Celtic, which saw Celtic go through. And yeah, I was surprised she's obviously been called up by Pedro Martinez-Lota as well for the game against Spain last time out, not in the squad for this one. But yeah, I would have thought she'd maybe get some more game time. She's definitely one of the young players that I've been most impressed with in the SWPL this season.
Pauline Hamill did say pre-match as well that the pathway is there because the likes of Tegan Bowie and Rachel Johnston, they have made it into Pedro Martinez-Losa's squads in recent time. It's a fantastic time to be a Scottish under-19 international, isn't it? Because there is that pathway that Pauline Hamill is talking about, but these girls are playing week in, week out, and that transition into the first team is only going to be helped.
Yeah, I mean, there's still obviously it's a big jump from under-19 to the full national side at the moment, but I think having players in and around that setup can only help with their development. Whether they're quite ready yet to make those minutes, we'll see obviously in the coming couple of years. But I think broadly for the youth sides for Scotland at the moment, under-19 and the under-17s as well, there's a very exciting crop coming through at the moment. I was at a National Performance League final a couple of weeks ago, and it finished 3 each, and both Rangers and Glasgow City had a number of impressive players, so it's nice to have that kind of competitiveness in the squads all the way up the age ranges.
Kazakhstan just making their way back out onto the park. What do you think they have to do differently, Chris? You know, they tried to come out a little bit. That's when the goal then came as well. You know, Scotland are so energetic. They're there on the press. They're closing them down. What can the visitors do more?
I think we saw it's just before the goal, certainly, that Kazakhstan were having a lot more success with their own press, getting the lines of 4 further up the pitch, and they were almost getting the right side of the halfway line for them. But after that goal, they seemed to almost drop right the way back, and it allowed Scotland to dictate the play again. It'll be interesting to see whether they try and get a few more people round about Polina Osipova, or whether she is left to kind of do that around furrow. It'll be interesting. I don't think there's been any changes from what I can see at the moment, but yeah, I think for them it will be getting back in that front foot press. Whether they're going to decide that they want to keep it at 1-0 for a wee while and give it a big gung-ho moment towards the end of the game, we'll wait and see. But I think for us it's very much continuing what we have been doing, and hopefully a couple of these half chances that we haven't quite put away, we're able to do so.
As we say, we don't think there have been any changes so far. If they are, we will bring them to you. Looks like Polina Osipova will get us underway at Ainslie Park. And eventually we are back underway in this UEFA Women's Under-19 Euro Championship League B campaign opener for Scotland and Kazakhstan, and it is the hosts who are 1 goal to the good. As Captain Jess Broderick gets back on the ball. Lister. Niamh Murphy. Broderick. Just a little bit slack there from Maria McInerney. Don't see that too often, certainly not this evening.
No, but you can see Jess has started the second half very similar to how she did in the first, bringing that ball back and looking to make that big progression up to the halfway line.
Closing Down but there to force another Scotland throw-in. A little bit of a slip-up from Scotland, but Jess Broderick clears the danger.
The mummification of Miriam McInerney's right leg is continuing in the second half.
Absolutely. More bandage every minute. Kazakhstan will be quite happy with this start here, Chris, just as there's a little pause in the game. They have came out already getting some moments in the Scottish half, something that they didn't get a lot of in the first, it has to be said.
No, they didn't, and I think that will definitely be part of the plan for them, is to try and get on the front foot early. But Scotland just need to obviously kind of get back to having their foot in the ball and kind of dictate and play a little bit. But this wee spell, it's maybe a good fact check in terms of what we need to do at the moment.
That'll be comfortable for Alicia Yates, weighing up her options. We are. Amy Anderson cutting in.
It's a great ball.
Fantastic pick out off Miriam McInerney. Gets her delivery in, but no takers, or rather down the throat, in fact, of Koklova. She'll be a little bit disappointed with her delivery there. She's usually on the money.
Yeah, I don't know if Maria was maybe having a wee shot there, but the way she kind of lined up and curled her body, you can see she had to be look up at the goal as well. But yeah, maybe better option to try and get it in the mixer there with the support there from Lister and Pollard.
Take your word for that. Handley.
You can see Kazakhstan have pushed up a little bit higher. Like
Slack there from Broderick. As you see, Kazakhstan were pressing, nothing amounts, but they are just getting into those positions further up the field, as Amy Anderson is here for Scotland.
Bright start to the second half for Amy Anderson. She was maybe in it a little bit, but not obviously had that chance as well. But it seems that there is a bit of variety now coming down both sides.
Here is Handley. Lot off the ball in the first half. Bailey Hutchison getting in the box, and Bailey Hutchison finds the back of the net well. She scored on her debut against Wales. She's made it 2-2. Fantastic finish. Chris, we said in the first half we wanted to see more of Bailey Hutchison in the Kazakhstan box. We've seen it there, and you can see why she has 18 goals in all competitions this season for Aberdeen.
She can finish pretty much any way she fancies at the moment, and this one's a nice one to get it past first time finish. Koklova comes out and Bailey just has a wee look to go over her. Again, brilliant play on the right flank by Ida Hanley to get the ball in. But yeah, Bailey Hutchison 2 goals and 2 now for the under-19s, and yeah, I think any time that she's in and around that area, she's a proper poacher striker. She is somebody that will score goals if you get her into positions to do so. And I think that's what's most exciting about Bailey, is that yes, she can drop deep and play these balls back, but for Scotland it's always good to score goals. And it looks like now with that second goal we should hopefully have a bit more forward momentum in this second half.
Absolutely. It looked there that London Pollard was trying to latch on. Does go out for a Kazakhstan throw just as the rain starts to fall a little bit heavier in the capital. But Pauline Hamill will be delighted, you know, it's 50 minutes now on the clock. That 2-goal cushion, so vital, deserved off the basis of the 50-minute performance thus far, but she can start to breathe a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think she'll be delighted because of obviously the way that the Kazakhs kind of started the second half. There was a bit more pressure, and there's another goal for Niamh Murphy this time. But yeah, I think that the fact that the Kazakhs did come out a little bit higher in the start of the second period, the fact that being able to break that down so quickly, it'll be interesting to see how they react, because obviously after the first goal they kind of went to default and dropped very deep. Looks like they're still going to try and push a little bit higher up at the moment, but I think as long as Scotland can keep control of the ball, we should be absolutely fine.
48th game in charge for Pauline Hamill. 141 Scotland appearances herself. First female to reach the 100 cap milestone for Scotland back in 2007. Fantastic crossfield pass from Niamh Murphy. trying to search out Maria McEnany, and she does so. Handley drills that one across, evades all. Amy Anderson manages to pick it up. Thinks about the shot.
Got a little bit betwixt between there, I think, Amy Anderson, in terms of having a shot putting the cross ball. But again, it looks like that right hand side, the Kazakhs haven't really addressed that the entire game, and now it does seem like the big switch is happening a lot more, whereas beforehand maybe it was coming down the one side. It now seems that Niamh Murphy in particular is looking for those balls to go out to that side from her for her opposite end.
Pollard again dropping deep. And Lister is in. Oh, she's offside.
It's pretty tight with Bazan in the middle. I thought might have been playing her on, but again, you just saw that little bit of composure from London Pollard to put that ball through, and Layla's maybe just not quite timed it. Nah, she's offside.
Wishful thinking there.
Ah.
Again, it's that link-up play with Pollard dropping that little bit deeper. Maria McEnany pushing forward, Amy Anderson on the opposite flank as well. And Pauline Hamill's got to be so happy with this. You know, you are seeing those attacking players really working as a unit. As we can see on the screen, Pollard is dropping deeper. They are more than comfortable switching and interplaying between positions.
Yeah, I always like to think of especially when you have the players that the Scotland have at the moment, with Lister, Pollard and Bailey Hutchison obviously playing a little bit deeper at the moment, but almost that recycle symbol of the three positions can rotate on a circle. And I think if you can do that as Bailey wins the ball here.
Feeds in London Pollard. No one in the box as of yet. Lister is there now. Dispossessed. Handley will pick it up into McAllister. Murphy again in that kind of central role. Tries to pick out Amy Anderson. Just overcooks that one. It's the build-up play is there from Scotland. You can see what they're trying to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing about it as well is you can see that there's not been much of a reaction from Kazakhstan in terms of the style and the technique that Scotland are going with at the moment, of getting those balls behind that back line into the wide areas for Amy Anderson and Maria McEnany.
Hutchison powering through as Kazakhstan come away. McAllister, Ozapova, no foul from Jess Broderick. Murphy. Short there again from Jess Broderick. Seen that a couple of times in this second half already.
I've been very impressed with how Kenzie Weir carries the ball at that back line. Obviously it's not necessarily very progressive in terms of how it gets up the park, but she certainly helps take the pressure off a little bit, especially when there's maybe that odd fumble.
That was fantastic getting up the park there from Jess Broderick, although Amy Anderson is offside. Extremely frustrated as she is looking across the line. She's got the pace, Chris. She really doesn't need to be.
No, and I think it's always one of those ones. I think anybody in any form of the game, when it comes to looking over the line, especially when you're kind of close to the touchline the game is there, you want to make sure that you're timing those runs right, and there shouldn't be a need to go early, because it's been proven a couple of times now that she has the pace to beat the Kazakh defence.
As a substitution for Kazakhstan, Polina Osipova, arguably the greatest threat up top for Kazakhstan, departs. And coming on is Valeria Progorova. I think Jess Broderick will be delighted to see the back of Osipova. She has caused a little bit of a threat.
Yeah, she's kept on top of Jess, and I think at times, as obviously as we saw just a few moments ago, it's maybe led to a couple of loose balls. But again, I kind of like the fact that she's still coming forward and bringing that ball forward as we kind of move up the line again.
Pollard just can't latch onto that, and Balzan sends that out for a corner kick.
It's nice to see Leila Lister just drifting out to the wing there to release that ball for Maria McEnany as well, and just maybe a half step away from London Pollard, but a chance here now from the corner.
Will be McEnany to take. Drifts that one in. Amy Anderson just can't get her shot away. Danger isn't cleared yet from Kazakhstan. So Murphy feeds it back into the path of Anderson. Didn't fancy that one.
No, she gave up on that one a little bit early. She's coming off now. So.
She is coming off indeed. Amy Anderson. Little bit of a frustrating evening thus far for her. And coming on is Tegan Bowie of Celtic. Mentioned her earlier, Chris.
Yeah, it looks like she's going to be playing a little bit higher up the park as well. It's one of the things that she does in the Celtic system, where Fran Alonso likes to play 3 at the back, so she does get deployed at wing back quite a lot when she does play, and at this level you can push that a little bit further forward, and it looks like she's going to be playing a little bit higher up as Ailey Adams comes on as well.
Double substitution for Scotland, number 18 Amy Anderson and number 19 Maria Christine McMenny, replaced by number 17
Ailey Adams on there for Maria McInerney, strapping around her knee. She's had a fantastic game though, Chris. Been involved in everything good really for Scotland in the opening hour.
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of what's happening now, is Ailey Adams is a slightly different player from Maria McInerney as well. She's more of a forward player, a kind of centre forward traditional in that sense. So I'm interested to see how this shapes up. Might see London Pollard maybe move out to the wing and Ailey go to the point of the attack. But as we've talked about beforehand already, the ability to rotate round to that front line is probably going to be something that we'll see a little bit more of in the second half.
Absolutely, 4 strikers really now on for Pauline Hamill's side. Ailey Adams of Hibernian, you know, she had a massive season last season. A lot was asked of her in this season. It really has been eased by the introduction of Alexa Coyle. She hasn't had as many minutes perhaps as she might have liked, but the burden almost has not fell so much on her that perhaps it did last season.
Yeah, I think that's fair. She had a huge responsibility at Hibs last season.
Lister feeds in Pollard, does manage to stay onside. No, she doesn't.
No, she doesn't. So
back to Ailey Adams.
Yeah, so on Ailey Adams, yeah, she was the focal point for that Hibs attack last season as a 16-year-old. That's a lot of pressure. She did win the Young Player of the Year for the 2021 season, but the arrival of Alexis Coyle coming in from Low Vista, I think, was a good move for Hibs in terms of taking that pressure off. She's had a couple of injuries over the course of this season, but you can see in the player run of form recently, I think she's scored pretty much every time she's played at Easter Road as well this season. So yeah, I'm really pleased to see her getting a run out, because I think she's one of the players that we should definitely be looking for in the next couple of years to really push on.
Indeed, she does love the big occasion. She loves Easter Road, loves a derby goal as well. Most recently at Easter Road against Partick Thistle. Does have a goal at this level. Scored in the 1-1 draw with Ukraine back in October. And she's 18 tomorrow. So perhaps an early birthday present is on the way.
Yes, happy birthday to Ailey Adams. For tomorrow.
Not bad representing your country on the eve of your 18th birthday. Don't think either of us can say we were doing that.
No, I won't say what I was probably doing on the eve of my 18th birthday, but let's just say I wasn't representing my country.
Nor was I.
No. Really hope they've got a cake for her in the dressing room though. That'd be a nice touch.
Yeah, Toure might turn up. Kenzie Weir. Trying to find Pollard. Just a burst of pace there from Pollard. Goes down. Referee signals no penalty. Lister there to pick it up. Still going, Lister.
See a little bit of standing water now going on the pitch. It has really started to come down quite heavily at the start of the second half, and it's starting to have a wee effect on the pitch, but it should be fine.
Ball's just moving that little bit slower, as Chris alluded to. Lister to Handley. Frustrating for Ailey Adams, one of her maiden touches as she is offside. Little bit of frustration there.
Addie Handley, though, it's continuing in the way she did in the first half, and there's been a slight change obviously in terms of who she's working in pairs with just now, but the same impact. And Ainslie, again, we've talked about it before with a couple of other front players as well, just needs to watch that line, because she was clear there if she just held it for that half step.
Koklova just being told where to take her spot kick. Free kick, rather. Apologies again for the loss of picture there. It does remain 2-0 to Scotland against Kazakhstan at Ainslie Park. 62 minutes gone. Kenzie Weir back on the ball. Not just the ball being hampered now tonight by the weather, Chris. It's not the nicest of the evenings in the capital, is it?
No, it's. I was surprised when I woke up this morning. I saw people talking of 6 inches of snow up north, and yeah, it seems to have started to trickle its way down to the central belt this afternoon. But yeah, it's definitely makes things a little bit more difficult for the players. It's never nice, especially when the wind starts to swirl, which it was doing quite a lot in that first period.
Thankfully, no snow as of yet. It's April, for goodness sake. First yellow card of the evening.
Getting booked for time wasting 2-0 down is an interesting one.
Norbert Eva. Uncharacteristic there from Addie Handley. Pollard got herself into a great position there to win it back, and she does win the foul. That's what Lyndon Pollard can offer when she drops that little bit deeper. There's so much more to her game than perhaps just goal scoring.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's one of the things that maybe happens with London, is that she does get somebody usually on her quite a lot of the time, in terms of somebody maybe man marking her, and in that instance she's obviously done well to hold the foul, and she can kind of ride those tackles quite well, and at times she can release the ball, and other times maybe it is drawing a foul, and looks like the Kazakh players coming for the worst end of that after the tackle.
Lana catch on the ground again, holding that right leg earlier on in the first half. Fantastic to see fans in the stands at Ainslie Park, as we say. Get yourselves along to the next two games, free of entry at Ainslie Park and then at Falkirk Stadium as well. Can't beat some live action football, Chris.
No, live football is where it's at, absolutely. And I think as well, it's worth noting as well, Estonia and Kosovo played their game earlier on this afternoon. Kosovo winning 2-1, so it means that getting this victory is important, because if another team wins, then we need to win as well. So keeping ourselves top of the table going into the next round of fixtures, we're playing Estonia, should be important.
Back underway, Murphy just overplays that one to Bailey Hutchison, but McAllister will sweep up, wanting to pick out London Pollard. She has done so. Onside this time, gets her delivery in, just a little bit short for Lister. Kazakhstan do clear, only as far as Handley. Fantastic touch from Lister, back out to Pollard. Kazakhstan just pushing Scotland back.
It's good ball retention though. It would have been easy for a couple of those early balls to go wild and we've got a chance.
Ailey Adams. Offside. Fell under the foul of Norbayeva, who has just been booked. Won the ball well.
Yeah, good tackle. It's a very good tackle. But again, Ailey's found herself in a good position there. Just been caught not watching the line, and the chance is gone.
More time wasted. Those crucial 3 yards.
It's one of my favourite techniques, is the throw forward ball spin. It's a patented technique across grounds all over the world, including Kazakhstan.
Jess Broderick fails to deal with that one there. Alicia Yates comes out and it fires across the post from Sagatova. And Jess Broderick was extremely lucky there, as was Alicia Yates. She came firing out of her goal. Little bit of miscommunication.
Let the ball bounce. I think it's actually Prokova that
It is Prokova, apologies.
And yeah,
Scotland get away with one there.
Yeah, hitting the post, and you would think when she rounded it, she obviously kind of stabbed at it first time with the outside of her boot, but yeah, getting away with one. I think it's just important that concentration remains. Again, that ball maybe bouncing up a little bit now. The surface has slickened up a wee bit and has made the bounce different from what it would have been at the start of the game, so that's maybe part of it as well. But you need to keep these concentration, because for Scotland, keeping clean sheets is as important as getting the win. And clean sheets, obviously, the more you build them up, it's a bit of a cliche, but if you don't concede, then you can't lose a game. And I think that'll be important. That's something that Pauline Ham will definitely impress upon the side as the game continues.
Boy. Handley. Adams dropping that a little bit deeper, and Pollard is offside that time. Falling into that trap as the game progresses.
Yeah, it's a little bit frustrating, because that's 3 or 4 times now that in the space of 5 minutes where we've had, looked like a very good opening to kind of break that Kazi back line, and we haven't done it. But hopefully it's an opportunity that comes, and maybe it's just an eagerness now. We can sense that a victory's close and we can get a couple more goals.
Fantastic touch there from Bowie. Manages to feed in Adams, but commanding comes out from Anastasia Koklova.
I think offside's been given again. You can hear Pauline Hamill there talking about that. Something that she was very adept at in her international career was those runs from deep. And yeah, I think you can see that starting to get a bit frustrating for the players as well.
Again, a little bit of miscommunication there from the Aberdeen pairing. We are. Composure across the back line. Scotland played out well. As London Pollard picks it up.
She's got great recovery, London Pollard. If she I know we talked on earlier on in the game that maybe our control sometimes let her down, but that second ball, she's always very good at kind of using those long limbs to kind of get the ball back underneath her spell.
Bowie. Yet to really get a handle of things since coming on. Tegan Bowie, as said earlier on, has made the senior call-up, or has had her first senior call-up, I apologise, back in November, and it just shows that pathway is there. She's had 3 caps as well at this level, but just not quite grown into the game as of yet.
Yeah, the two substitutions haven't. I don't think they've disrupted things. But maybe
as they're trying to link up here, sorry, Chris.
That's okay.
And it is out for a corner kick, but going back to what you said there, neither Tegan Bowie or Ailey Adams have really managed to make any sort of impact thus far.
No, not yet though. It would have been very timely of them to put that one away there, but hopefully it's coming, and they are two quality players, so this isn't something to worry about.
And from Bowie, height on it, was met by Kenzie Weir, just never coming down in time.
I think Kenzie's maybe got to do a little bit better with that one. She's done well. She's not been tracked at all. The Kazakh defenders left her, and yeah, she's maybe just come at it maybe a little bit too quick, and that's maybe the kind of weird jumping position she's been in when she's kind of going to head it. But again, is another opportunity for Scotland.
20 minutes left here. Scotland 2, Kazakhstan 0. This League B campaign opener. Scotland desperate to get back up into League A at the first time of asking. This is not where they want to be. Such an exciting group of players, a really talented crop of players at Pauline Hamill's disposal. Look at the strength on the bench already. We spoke about bringing on likes of Ainslie Adams, Tegan Bowie, established players in their first team at club level. Plenty positives to take so far for Hamill.
Yeah, but we're winning the game, and it is quite comfortable. I know there was a scary moment a couple of minutes ago, but we have been very comfortable. Maybe we'd like to be a little bit better on the ball and a bit more clinical up top, but this is the first thing we get gained back since 2020 for some of these players in a national team shirt. And I think one of the things it's important to recognise as well, all these players are kind of come through together, so a lot of them will have played together at under-17s, and you get a little bit of that continuity, which is why players can hopefully come in and out and really impact the side as the game continues.
Hutchison, McAllister forces a save out of Koklova. Felt Koklova probably could have held that one there, Chris. It was a strike from distance from Rebecca McAllister, but perhaps with the wet surface, the rain falling, just felt a little bit more comfortable to parry that one away.
Yeah, a safety first approach I think there from Koklova, and she did well to parry it away from the side, and again unfortunately caught offside when trying to get the rebound from Leila Lister there.
Just as you were saying earlier, every player in the Scottish side 17, 18, only Rebecca McAllister at 19 years of age, they have all came through together, the 16s, the 17s together. Outstanding number of caps amongst them amassed at the under-17 level, as London Pollard drills that one across the face of goal, does take a nick along the way.
Well, London's actually one of the players that hasn't come through
Indeed.
that process, and she kind of burst into the scene as we talked about before for Farmington earlier on, and she's stepped up, and I'm really excited to see her in the Scotland setup. This is a kind of goal that she usually puts away, but there's obviously been a wee nit from Koklova to put out for the corner.
Tegan Bowie again over this. And it is buried away that time by Ainslie Adams. A nice early birthday present for the Hibernian striker. 3 caps at under-19 level. This is our 4th and this is our 2nd goal. Mentioned earlier, she did grab a goal against Ukraine in that 1-1 draw back in October, and she takes this goal fantastically well, Chris.
Yeah, the Kazakhs haven't really defended these corners very well. They seem to let bodies fly, and Koklova's wrapped up a wee present for Ainslie to tuck away into the bottom corner, and it's a good thing for her as well. Obviously, getting that goal after a couple of, you can see she was getting a little bit frustrated with some of the offside calls earlier in the game. But yeah, 3-0 now, and that well taken. It could have been easy to sclaff that, and she's passed that into the other corner.
15 minutes to go here, and Scotland are in a comfortable position, 3-0 up thanks to that Ainslie Adams goal. That'll be the commentator's curse, working the opposite way, just saying that Tegan Bowie and Ainslie Adams hadn't done enough since coming on, and it's a Tegan Bowie corner and it's an Ainslie Adams finish. Chris, any more outrageous comments you want to come out with?
I think everybody's having a horrible game, and they should all score more goals. But no, it's good, and I think Tegan has actually come into it in the last 5 minutes in terms of getting down that line the same way that was happening in the first half. And Ainslie can finish, and I think that's one of the things she's certainly developed over this season with that kind of more time she's had, not having to play that lone striker for Hibs. Her finishing has been improving, and I think that's really shown in that the way she's taking that goal.
6 league goals in SWPL 1 for Ainslie Adams. in an arguably rather disappointing perhaps season from Hibernian. Obviously they've not had the investment that other sides have had, so disappointing maybe a little bit harsh, but perhaps maybe more some disappointing results along the way rather than an overall disappointing season.
I think fourth is probably where you'd expect Hibs to be at this juncture in the season. I think they'll be disappointed with some of the results. Picked up the cup defeat to Partick Thistle on Friday night. They lost 4-2 at Petershill Park, and Partick Thistle were full value for that win, and it'll be hope that, you know, for Hibs that they kind of bounce back from that in the next season.
Addy Handley departing, fantastic shift. Coming on is Shona Cowan off Hearts.
A fantastic performance in Addy Hanley. I think she's offered a threat throughout the entire game, and even with the change of support she's had on that far side in the second half, she still continues to provide a threat, and I think Kazakhstan have really struggled to cope with Addy today.
Placed by our Hearts teammate Shona Cowan, who had started the last 3 Scottish Under-19 games prior to this evening. Perhaps feel a little hard done by for not starting this evening.
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, with the Wales friendly and with it being a friendly, you're not quite sure how it's going to develop. And I think with the competitive side, competitive games in the League A and the last time out against Netherlands, Ukraine, and Austria, some of these players have maybe developed in different ways since that time, and it's interesting. It'll be good for Pauline to get a look at Shona in this situation now with kind of 13-14 minutes left of the game.
And captain Jess Broderick is also off, replaced by Robin McCafferty, who has taken the captain's armband as well. Obviously off Spartans, one of the players to have signed a semi-pro contract, playing at her home ground. Real talent, Robin McCafferty, ever present really in the Spartans backline this season as well, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely, and Robin's a centre defender that here comes the cliche klaxon. She loves a tackle, and she does love a tackle. I spoke to Robin a wee while ago, and one of her inspirations is Kaka, which I was surprised at as a centre back. But yeah, if she wants us to replicate him at any point in the next 11.5 minutes, I think we'd all be on board for that. But it'll be a great honour for her. She has captained the Under-19s as well, but to do that at your home pitch, and it's a club that I know she has a lot of affiliation with in terms of her own development, and the time she does a lot of work in the community now as well. So yeah, fantastic for Robin to get on the pitch and to put the armband on.
Absolutely captaining that Under-17 side as well. 20 caps at that level, just as we were alluding to earlier. So many of the players came through or are continuing to come through really together. Did get our debut at this level against Austria back in October. But that semi-pro contract given to her by Spartans, you know, at such a young age still, she is still just 17 right now. It's a real sign of how much value she is to Debbie McCulloch and to the club and to the community in general. As you correctly alluded to, you know, Spartans do so much good in the capital and the community, but to be rewarded really with that contract at such a young age is a fantastic honour for her.
Yeah, and I mean, Robin's a player as well that backed herself. She was in the Hibs system for as a youth, and she's decided to step away from playing academy football with Hibs to go to Spartans at 15, and Debbie McCulloch has shown faith in that as well, and obviously she's now well embedded in the Scotland youth setup, and is another one of the young players in the SWPL that's getting regular game time week in, week out.
London Pollard departing now. Pauline Hamill just flexing her muscles with all the strength she has on the bench. And Bailey Collins of Aberdeen is on in her place.
I think London Pollard can be happy with her performance this evening. She obviously started off maybe a couple of missed touches, but you could see as the game was progressing she was growing in confidence, had a key role in the opening goal, and the Kazakhs just couldn't really handle her physicality and her running.
Right.
Looks like Bailey Hutchison's now moved up to the top with Bailey Collins coming into the midfield.
Speaking about that Hearts contingent earlier, Aberdeen is just equally impressive. Obviously Jess Broderick has just not long departed. Eva Thompson still on the bench, but with Bailey Collins and Bailey Hutchison on the field now, a lot of good being done up north and the Aberdeen setup, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely, and a couple of other players, Francesca Ogilvie and Ailey Shaw, who are now beyond this age range, but I think will definitely be two players that clubs will be looking at in terms of their next move. But yeah, it's great to have talent spread across Scotland. I remember listening to a podcast, Rachel Corsie talking about her first ever trip down with a youth camp and being the only Aberdonian and being a bit daunting. So to have that camaraderie is certainly going to be helpful, especially in settling into a squad. And these players have been together now for a lot of camps as under-17s and under-19s, and that progression is great to see.
Murphy. McAllister. First touch for Bailey Collins. Another substitution coming up here for Kazakhstan this time. Coming off Asel Zumagali, or perhaps not. Definitely coming off Yulia Butt.
I think Aselia is coming off as well, given by that shout.
I would say so. A little bit of confusion reigning. Zumagali definitely coming off here now. And coming on, Idia Yerdolatova. I do think Yulia Butt is coming off, going by the cries below us. There she goes. And on in her place, Adeyelia Avzhan.
For Kazakhstan, this is a chance to get minutes into the legs of some of the other players. They'll look at the games against Estonia and Kosovo and think that they'll be ones they're targeting. You mentioned obviously they haven't scored a goal, so Scotland's objective is obviously to get out of League B and back into League A so that we can potentially look to qualify for Euros. For Kazakhstan, the goals are different, but I think at this stage in women's football development, you are seeing more nations that kind of aligning their sights to what they need to do next, and it's great to see progress across the board, because even as little as 5 years ago, Kazakhstan might not have even had a team in this competition.
There is substitute Avzhan. Robin McCafferty. Deft touch there from Bailey Collins. Shona Cowan. Ailey Adams offering the chase. Back by Rebecca McAllister. Been impressive, Rebecca McAllister. Chris, we did say beforehand she was perhaps the shock inclusion, but she's really grown into that pivot role, perhaps at the discretion of Bailey Hutchison, but it's been a really decent performance from the on-loan Celtic player at Hearts.
Yeah, you could see as the game progressed that she was coming more into it. I think with Bailey moving a little bit forward now as well, she's going to take that responsibility of getting the ball, and she's quite happy to move it on quickly, which I think is an important thing to do. Is this going to be offside? It is offside again. There's just fine margins in this top end, and I'm sure this will be something Pauline will look to work on ahead of the game against Estonia on Friday, because it will be disappointing that a lot of good balls have maybe not been capitalised on at the moment.
Indeed, a quick turnaround for Pauline Hamill's side, as so often in these triple headers, as this happens to be this international break. Go again on Friday. Adams not offside this time.
Bailey Hutchison.
Apologies.
It was a really nice step over from Bailey to actually try and get in the end of that ball, but it just went a little bit away from her.
Adams late that time.
She got the ball, it's all good.
Intercepted there. Not. I'll be out for a Scotland free kick this time. Scotland throw, Scotland throw. Kazakhstan throw this time, for sure. Chris, as we enter the final minutes of the game here, I feel I better ask you, who's your player of the match? There's been a few decent performances out there. It's been a decent overall performance from Pauline Hamill's side, but if there is a standout, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Bailey Hutchison has got a goal and has had an impact throughout the game. We also saw Maria McInerney have an impact prior to the match as well. London Pollard came onto a good game, but I think for me, Addie Hanley's been the standout for Scotland today. She obviously is now off the park, but the power of work she had done in that first half, and then to continue that in the second half, I think has really helped stretch Kazakhstan, and I was really impressed with just her determination and the fact that I was going to try and use a fancy word. She ran really well for a long period of time. So yeah, I think for me, Addie Hanley is fully deserving of the player of the match.
Don't think there'll be too many disagreements with you there, Chris. 7 caps at under-17s for Addie Handley. Fantastic debut start tonight for the Heart of Midlothian 17-year-old. And again, it's just all about minutes in the legs at this period of the season. Addie Handley got 35 minutes at the weekend against Kilmarnock in the Scottish Cup for Hearts. And again, Pauline Hamill's going to be delighted with how many players she's managed to bring on, just even for 20 minutes, half an hour, keeping things fresh. We're saying it's such a tight schedule. You know, the girls go again on Friday night, but getting minutes in the legs across the board is going to be a real positive.
Yeah, and I think what will be interesting to see is how much Pauline changes it, if she does change it, if she has a not quite that time that just managed to hold the line. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Pauline changes it, or if she has a settled starting 11. I think we'll probably see a couple of changes. Who that be, I'm not sure, but with these games in short order, and I think with the expectation that we should be going into these games looking to win, I think we will see a wee bit of rotation.
Grace Mitchell, Tegan Browning and Eva Thompson, all unused substitutes on the bench alongside Rachel Johnson as well. Strength and depth for Pauline Hamill. And again, it's been said so many times, but it's because it is true. This is a really exciting crop of players who arguably should be playing in the League A stage of qualifying. So it is crucial for the girls to get back up to that kind of stage. And again, as Pauline Hamill touched upon, there's just so much to be excited about right now.
Yeah, and it's fine margins at that League A stage. They picked up a point to Ukraine and then lost 1-0 to Austria. Netherlands is a different kettle of fish at that level, but I think we should certainly be aspiring to staying in that League A and being competitive, because with that competitive, playing against better players, playing against that level, it can only help with the players' development, and then obviously hopefully have a trickle effect up towards the senior A seed.
We are. Just confirmed of 3 minutes additional time here at Ainslie Park. The 90 have been played. This free kick goes in Scotland's favour. McCafferty. Kenzie Weir, a player not either of us have seen an awful lot of with being down south, Chris, but been extremely impressed by her presence tonight in the Scottish back line.
Yeah, she's been very composed. Obviously Scotland haven't had a lot to do in the defensive end, but I think what's been impressive is the way she's carried the ball. She seems calm. She doesn't necessarily panic. She will take that extra step if she thinks it's going to get into a better position. And I think that it's going to be very important, especially for looking ahead to the senior team and maybe the likes of Rachel and Jen, who are coming towards the back end of their careers now, and that this next kind of talent role of centre backs is really important. So it's good to see a player like Kenzie kind of come into a situation that maybe a couple of people maybe have not known too much about her, and really impress.
Apologies for the loss of picture again there. Just in the dying moments of this evening's clash at Ainslie Park, Scotland do remain 3-0 up. Just as you were alluding to before, Chris, in the likes of Rachel Corsie and Jen Beattie, obviously Scotland women's national team back in action on Tuesday. Crucial World Cup qualifier against Spain at Hampden Park. It's going to be a really exciting clash, that one.
Yeah, you're going to be seeing some of the best players in the world. I mean, Alexia Putellas has, I think, won every award going just now, but Spain are definitely a nation on the rise. It's going to be incredibly tough, but it's a fantastic opportunity to see players that are some of the best in the world at close quarters.
And that's full time here at Ainslie Park. Scotland 3 goals to the good. Pauline Hamill's side, the main aim of this qualifying campaign is to get back into League A, and they are off to the perfect start. Goals in the first half coming
Layla Lister.
Layla Lister on the score sheet to start with, Bailey Hutchison, and rounded off by Ailey Adams. Fantastic performance, 3 points, 3 needed points to kick things off, and it's Scotland 3, Kazakhstan 0 at Ainslie Park.
Yeah, fantastic to get the 3-0 victory. Puts us top of the group going into the second round of fixtures, which is obviously the most important thing in terms of getting those victories. And I think Pauline will be happy. There was plenty of chances created. There'll be things to work on, but also keeping a clean sheet, which is something that, as I said during the game, is almost as important as getting the win at this level. So yeah, fantastic to see Scotland pick up a 3-0 victory on what was turned into a pretty miserable night at Ainslie Park. But yeah, great start to the qualifying campaign.
Looked back on Layla Lister's goal in the first half at half time. Here it is again. Fantastic little chip in from Maria McInerney for the assist, and Layla Lister of Reading puts that one away. Great finish, Chris.
It was just great to see players kind of working on instincts a little bit. You saw London do this loop up when you're having a wee look for Layla, and then that well taken finish by Layla Lister, not letting the ball drop to put it in, and it was a just reward for what was a lot of good work in that first half that maybe didn't quite result in the goals.
Saw Bailey Hutchison in a deeper role in the second half, but with 18 goals in all competitions at club level for Aberdeen, when you find her in a position like that, she just has all the composure to put them away.
Absolutely, and with Eddie Handley with the assist there in that point as well. But you could see just in that fraction of a moment in and around the 6-yard box how lethal Bailey Hutchison can be in an attacking third.
Little bit of miscommunication at the back from Jess Broderick and Alicia Yates. Nearly saw Kazakhstan through, courtesy of Provokrova, but Scotland fell a little bit fortunate with it cannoning off the post rather.
Yeah, it seemed to zip off the surface and go over Jessie's head, and Prokhorova kind of stabbed at it and can only hit the post.
And a substitute link up for the final third, Tegan Bowie. Corner just getting the better of Koklova, and awaiting was Ailey Adams for her second goal at this level in 4 appearances. Fantastic effort from Adams.
We talked about in the first half that potentially some of the players weren't anticipating the touch from Koklova, but this is what Ailey Adams does, and by doing that it gives her the time to stroke the ball into the bottom corner, and for her to come on and get a goal the day before her birthday, she can have a wonderful day tomorrow.
It's what Pauline Hamill would have been wanting, Chris, getting off to a strong start in this League B campaign. Couldn't be much better with 3 goals and a clean sheet. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. It's been an enthralling encounter to take it in at Ainslie Park, and we hope you enjoyed our coverage.